I'm tired of how much I talk about all these big budget blockbusters and comic book movies. I feel like I'm not getting enough culture and film experience. I need to broaden my horizons somehow, but, what can I do, though?
Why don't you use the many resources available to you as a film student, like film festival vouchers and things of that nature?
Who the hell are you?
Yeah, I always find myself wondering that too.
Okay, well, I think that was a pretty good sign to never step outside of my comfort zone or this room ever again, so why don't we talk about Avengers Infinity War?
Oh, I love that movie. Can I join?
Leave! Jesus, fuck! Hey everybody, so here I am talking about a big blockbuster comic book movie. I don't think that's something I've ever done before. What's that? First episode? Oh, okay, well, I guess I'll do it in focus this time. So, for those who aren't aware, I'm a bit of a fan of this whole Marvel thing. I mean, just a little bit, I mean... It's supposed to do that. Just a bit of a casual fan. Side note, as a nerd collector, this is the kind of stuff you want to have. This inconspicuous stuff. You don't want to have a lot of awkward conversations. Oh, so how exactly did you come across the 30-foot sculpture of the Hulk's wang? Like this could be anything. This could be incriminating photos I have to burn. That's classy. That shows I have experience. I don't remember where I was going with this. So I've been on board with this whole thing from the get-go. I mean, I grew up reading comic books and dreaming up film versions of them in my head. So this is like seeing my childhood up there on the screen. Actually, no, you know what? It's better because the versions I was dreaming up in my head would have looked horrible. I don't really get nostalgic over much, but it's just a nice feeling when I go to see these movies. If I had to rank them, excluding the one I'm about to talk about because I'm gonna need to let it sit with me for a little bit, it probably looks something like this. Oh wait, that's not the right list. There we go, that's much better. I think overall they all have their flaws as films, but as representations of their source material, they are pretty much spot on. And I know that doesn't mean much for a lot of people, so I'll also add that for big dumb summer movies, this is miles ahead of the other stuff we're getting nowadays. Seriously, there's a volcano, and you're breeding another thing, and it can sneak into a child's bedroom. What's even going on? At their worst, they're just forgettable, and I think that's more than you could say for a lot of franchises. So that's how I feel about all this, and I think it's important to talking about it because this really isn't a movie. I can't talk about it like it's a normal film because it's so of its own design. This really is the culmination of 10 years of Walt Disney slipping his finger into your pocket to grab your hard-earned coin as you gorge yourself on Bunch of Crunch, you son of a bitch. That might be a pretentious way to label the film. I mean, after all, it's not some revolutionary art piece that's going to completely change the way we view narrative fiction. But I do think it's fair to say that the way this film unfolds narratively is a big shakeup from your standard comic book blockbuster. But now that I've talked about all that, it is time to talk about what I thought about the movie. So what did I think? Well, I thought it sucked. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'm kidding. I loved it. If you had said to me when I was younger that this would exist one day and I could go to a theater and see it where some guy would get on his knees and praise the movie, I wouldn't believe you. Mainly because that last bit's a little bit weird. Maybe pull it back a bit, guy. Also, is there any other, more important information you could give me? You're really a responsible time traveler now that I think about it. But yeah, it's real, it's here, and it's completely wonderful. I really want to spoil the shit out of this, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to talk about everything I can without spoiling anything, and then there will be a spoiler section with a time code that you can skip to just go to my rating if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want anything ruined for you.
Spoilers, I give it an awesome-tacular, my original creation, do not steal.
So what's good about this movie? Well, for starters, the dynamics are amazing. Seeing all these characters being dropped into this crazy situation where they have to constantly be thinking on their feet is just perfect. It's exactly what you want to see from them. Also, the CGI is fantastic. I've been known to harp on bad CG, and these Marvel movies have been all over the place with it recently, and I was a little worried considering the villain would obviously have to be all CG, but man, they really pull it off. It's really great effects work, especially the stuff used to bring Thanos to life. It looks fantastic. And that's another thing. Josh Brolin absolutely kills it as Thanos. I mean, he kills lots of other things too. No spoilers yet! I was not sure how they would pull him off, but they really did. It's pretty much his movie. And it had some really cool action. This is something I feel that's been lacking from Marvel movies and, well, just movies in general lately, so it was cool to see some actually cool inventive fight scenes. Doctor Strange. arms. That's all I'm gonna say. So what didn't I like? Well, I think a lot of the characters didn't get enough time to shine, but that's to be expected in something this gargantuan. Some of Star-Lord's characterization in the beginning felt a little sitcom level humor to me, and it kind of felt dated. But that did get a lot better later in the movie after they partook in a cherished comic book tradition. More on that in spoilers. There's a moment in the movie that story-wise I don't think really works. It kind of feels forced, and it kind of creates a bit of a problem because it does lead to a lot of stuff afterwards, and it just kind of took me out. It's just really hard to talk about this without spoiling things, but I'm gonna do it. There was a story point that I didn't think worked out. More about it in spoilers. And it does take me out of it a bit how much of a part 1 feeling this leaves me with, but compared to other part 1 movies, this is like Citizen Kane. Like, have you seen Mockingjay Part 1? Nothing happens. How are you gonna make a movie where nothing happens? How? Overall, I had a blast with this movie. It really did feel like seeing big splash pages of comics right up there on the screen. It took me back to constantly flipping through pages, being gripped to the stories I was reading. I never thought this could happen, and I had a huge smile on my face when we left the theater. It actually stayed like that for a while. We had to go to the hospital. Lockjaw is a very serious, and I'm gonna hold off on my rating until after the spoilers section, and by the way, that's we're gonna do that now. So go to this time code if you don't want to be spoiled, and if you've already seen the movie or don't care, well, we're gonna start talking in 3, 2, 1. Bruce Wayne is Batman! No, but for real though, where to even begin? Loki dies, like, immediately. I saw that coming, to be honest. I thought Thanos was just, like, immediately gonna waste him for the whole New York thing, but I did like that he went out nobly. That was a nice touch I didn't see coming. That was brutal too. I thought his eyeballs were gonna pop out of his head, Total Recall style. I saw Heimdall's death coming too. As soon as I saw him, I didn't think Elba would have signed on for more movies, and honestly I kind of forgot he was even on that ship, so yeah, that wasn't too surprising, but still sad to see him go. What I didn't see coming was everybody turning to dust at the end. That was dark. I felt like I was watching all my friends turn into Donnie from The Big Lebowski. I think it's clear to say that's all going to be undone in the next one. I think anybody who faded away is pretty much guaranteed to come back. Or maybe not. Guardians 3 would be a very interesting movie with a whole, no one on the team. Even though you know it's all going to be undone, it still hits you emotionally, and I think that's really impressive. It kind of gave me faith that however they get around this in the next movie won't feel like a cop-out or a cheat. Like maybe whoever survived has to, like sacrifice themselves in order to bring everybody back because they're the ones who are around longer, to sort of retip the scales. That'd be something interesting, but I don't know. But Gamora, Loki, Heimdall, and Vision, yeah, probably not coming back. Well, maybe Vision will come back. He's a robot, and that's something new for Marvel, and I think that's a good thing. This movie wouldn't have really worked without some emotional punch, so I'm glad that they didn't skimp on that. And yeah, like I mentioned in the non-spoiler section, I think you can kind of make the case that they kill off Gamora for furthering Thanos and Star-Lord's character development, but it's not like it feels unwarranted. I mean, this is the big event movie where a lot of these characters are going to die, and like it's something you expect going in. So personally, I do think that's a really, really overused thing in comics, and seeing it seep over into the movies is, I think story-wise, it's totally appropriate. It didn't feel like a cheap grab for an emotional moment. It felt really earned and really went with the story. So I don't think that too many people are going to get offended over this, but I don't know because the world's on fire. And seeing Red Skull again was cool. It took me a little bit to realize he wasn't Hugo Weaving, but it's still cool. I never really thought he'd come back anyway. And as for those issues, I really do not like the part where Strange just hands over the Time Stone. It didn't feel like it was all that warranted. I mean, he's spent a total with a couple hours of these characters, and all of a sudden he's letting the entire universe fall to the wayside just to save them. It just didn't feel like it was in keeping with his character. And maybe it's one of those things that just gets lost bouncing around so much, or maybe there's more scenes with these characters bonding that aren't in the final cut. Probably that. But it just leaves this whole crucial moment feeling a little bit undeserved. I'm not really complaining though, because that sequence of Thanos just cutting through the entire Avengers lineup after he got it was just so awesome. And yeah, I don't think I like Star-Lord in this. I'm told James Gunn actually wrote the Guardians dialogue in this movie, but I don't know if that's true because it just felt very off. Like I said, that early stuff with him and Thor doing the whole jealous guy routine just felt so 90s sitcom, and it just felt like really weak humor, to be honest. And seriously, dude, just wait until the glove is off, then punch. Like, if you really want to hit somebody, but you see they've got out a knife, you probably either not hit them or get that away from them first, right? Right? And those are really the only spoilery things I had issues with. I wanted to get them out of the way so I could talk about all the stuff that was really kick-ass and awesome in the movie that I loved. Such as Thanos throwing a moon, Strange calling Stark a douchebag, that final shot, Thanos turning back time just so he could kill Vision again. You should have aimed for the head. Peter Dinklage. Seriously, Thanos threw a fucking moon. Strange fighting Thanos with a million copies of himself and the Crimson Bands of whatever. The scene where Drax thinks he's invisible. Seriously, a moon. He throws a moon. Oh, and also they play Rubber Band Man. That's just a personal thing. I just really like that song. There's so much more I could talk about, but if you're watching this part, then you already saw it, so you already know. Or you're just watching this part even though you haven't seen it, in which case, why did you do that? Why have you done this? We're all so very disappointed in you.
I can't believe you've done this.
Honestly, just go watch it if you haven't. This really isn't gonna hold practically anything for people who aren't already fans of the MCU, but if you've liked even a few of the movies, then this is definitely worth checking out. I don't think it's the greatest movie ever made, and a lot of these posts with people saying, oh, I just had to sit in my car just to process it afterwards, it's a bit much for me personally. Let me put it this way. I saw the movie with my cousin, and usually after we see movies, we talk about them as we walk back to our apartments, and these conversations can usually get pretty lengthy. Infinity War was the quickest we ever wrapped up one of those conversations. I don't know exactly what that means. It's so fun, and if you've been looking forward to this movie as a fan in any degree, then you'll have at least a few moments to make it worth the price of admission. I don't think anything's gonna really sit with people or reveal itself to have some deeper message later on down the road, but with everything on this movie's plate, I think that'd be asking too much. This doesn't have to be anything grander than a bunch of these characters coming together to solve a problem, and they pull it off so much better than any other studio would, at least currently. It's a part one for sure, and it didn't leave me shell-shocked quite the way it did others, but I'm not gonna act like this wasn't a very special experience for me. I expected flaws going in, and nothing really brought the movie down for me. There's just little things that I happen to notice. I had so much fun with this movie, and if you're a Marvel fan, I think you're going to have a blast with it too. You really cannot miss this one. Yeah, big shocker, I'm recommending this one. That is, of course, contingent on how you feel about these movies, but I feel like if you've watched this far, then you're probably a Marvel fan. So go out and see this one if you haven't already, and you might not even have trouble getting seats. There were like 6 open seats next to us. I guess whoever bought those must have just turned to dust and couldn't make it. Or, of course, they could have died because it's prohibitively expensive to live in a city. And yeah, that's really all I want to talk about in this episode because, listen, no other studio is stupid enough to release another movie around this. Nobody's gonna go to compete with this. If superhero movies aren't your bag, I totally understand. I've got a long list of new releases I'm going to be checking out in future episodes, so maybe come back next episode for a bit more variety. But yeah, as a huge Marvel fan, I couldn't just not talk about this and not give my thoughts because this is like the big moment. I'm so happy we finally arrived here and I cannot wait to see what happens next. Like, for real, like, I'm honestly really excited to see what happens next. You know how cool that is for me to feel that again? Like, I felt like I had died going into Age of Ultron because I just did not care enough. This got me excited about the future of the MCU again. That's really the best thing I can say about it. Now, I know I usually end these videos with jokes. Seriously, guys, go see it. He throws a moon! Thanks so much for watching, guys. I know I said I wanted to do this series so I could cover multiple films so as to not focus on one movie for too long, but it's not like I had a lot of other options for films to absorb right now, so it is what it is. Back to the normal format next episode, or at least until I find something I want to spotlight again. Did you like this video? Be sure to leave a like on it down below. That really helps me out. Maybe leave a comment with a suggestion for a movie you'd like me to watch here or on my other show, Bad Movie Touch. Always looking for cool suggestions from wonderful viewers like yourself. If you like my content and would like to stay up to date, well, be sure to subscribe and don't forget to ring that bell so the YouTube man can break into your room at night to deliver you videos. That's how they do it now. That's how they're doing it. Trust me. You can trust me. If you feel like helping me make this stuff, then be sure to check me out over on Patreon, where you can get access to cool exclusives like your name on this end screen here and early access to videos. Maybe even get your feedback featured in a future video. That's a really fucking hard sentence to say. That would be really cool because I'd love to have a dialogue. You could also follow me on Twitter at EvaModem. I'll also attach the Twitter for the movie I'm working on. I'll also attach the GoFundMe for the movie. I want you to know me filming in front of the poster is very intentional. I'm like kneeling on the armrest to my couch. It's not exactly comfortable. I'll leave all that down below. That's shaping together really nicely. I'm so excited for you guys to see it because we're very proud of it. It's shaping together so nicely. Might also be starting work on another film, more on that as it develops, but I'll let you know. And like I said, I got a lot of update videos coming soon because I'm working on a lot of cool stuff. I'm really excited to tell you about it once it rolls around. Okay, that's all I really got. Thanks again so much for watching, guys. guys, it really does mean the world to me that people are enjoying my content. So thanks for remaining wonderful viewers, and I will see you soon. You should have aimed for the head. Hope you appreciate that. I think it killed me.